Hello boys and girls, welcome to this presentation. In this video, we're going to talk about the rest of the questions in Unit 1 revision. Question 17, workout. Now, workout means what? It means find the final answer. You can use a calculator to find the final answer, but some questions need some steps that you understand. So you have to focus on understanding the steps, and you can use the calculator to find your final answer to make sure that you got the right steps. Now, in A here, it's easy. We talked about this before. When you multiply the numbers or the same base numbers, you add the powers. So you search for the same base numbers, this and this. So you add the powers. So it's going to be negative 3 plus 4. It's going to be what? Very good. 3 power of 1, right? Because negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So 3 power of 1. And power of 1, we don't write it. And then multiplied by what? Yes, 2 power of negative 2 here. And 2 power of negative 1, they are the same. So when you add the powers, they're going to be 2 power of negative 3. So 2 power of negative 3. Now you can write it like this. Or if you want to work it out in the calculator, you can find it. No problem. This one is going to be 1. This one, when you write it, it's going to be 1 over 2 power of 3, which is 4, 1 over 4. And the 3 will be on top, so 3 over 4. And depending, you can write it as it is in the calculator, and it will give you the answer, no problem. Now let's take a look at question B, C, and D, because I want to explain this to you because it's very important to understand the powers on top of a fraction. Now, here you can simplify before finding the final answer. It means what? It means this is a base number and this one is the same base number. So we're going to use them and add the powers. You don't have to put the power inside of it. So let's do it together. So we have the same base numbers here and here. Let me use this space here. Yes. So same base numbers here. Half, half. So we write half. And we add the powers because it's multiplied. So negative 3 plus 2 equals negative 1 multiplied by. And then we have the same base numbers here and here. Third, we put the brackets and we add the powers. So negative 1 and negative 1 is negative 2. And this is the final answer. If you want to work it out more with a calculator, finding the final answer, no problem. Same idea for the others. Same base number. You just add the powers with the base number. So negative 3 plus 3 equals 0. And anything with a power of 0 equals 1. Okay? Easy. Good. And then this one, same idea. Same base numbers. You add the powers. So it's going to be half power of 1. And you don't have to write power of 1. Multiplied by, wait, change this. So we got half. And then we have the third, same base number. When we add the powers, 1 minus 2 equals minus 1. So it's going to be third with a power of minus 1, I'm sorry. Third with a power of minus or negative 1, okay? Because we added 1, negative 2 equals negative 1. And we had the power, okay? So after finding or simplifying the questions, you're going to use a calculator to answer the question. Now, you can use a calculator from the beginning of the question, write the whole numbers here, and the calculator will give you the answer. Or if they ask you for the steps, you'll finish the steps and then use the calculator to find the answer. Now let's find the answer for each one of them. Here we have 3 power of 1 multiplied by 2 power of negative 3. So 3 times 2 power of negative 3 equals 0.375. Now they don't want the answer in standard form. They just want you to work out. So if they ask you to work out only, it means any answer will do. Now the answer will be 0.3 to power of negative 3, of course, yeah, 7.5. And this is the answer for A. Now let's take a look at B. Same idea. We have half, so we write it as 1 divide 2, and then we close the brackets, power of negative 1, and then close the bracket, multiplied by, we have a third power of negative 2. So 1 over 3, close the bracket, power of negative 2, negative 2. Okay, that's okay, let's do it again. So a half is going to be like this. Let's put it in bracket, 1 over 2, close the bracket, and then power of negative 1, okay, equals, okay, and then multiplied by, the first one is 2, so we open a bracket for the third, 1 over 3, close the bracket, power of negative 2 equals 9, equals 9. So we multiply this, we multiplied by 2 equals 18. So the whole answer is 18 here, and we found it with a calculator. Good. Now let's check C. We do the same thing. If we don't know how to write the whole thing, we can write one by one and find the answer for each one alone. Now the first one here is 1 over 3 power of negative 1. So we write 1 over 3. We close the bracket, power of negative 1 equals what? Equals 3. And then 1 over 2, close the bracket, power of 1. So 3 times half equals 0.5. 3 times, I'm sorry, 1, yeah, it's 0.5, so it's half, times 3, so it's 1.5, yes. So 1.5. This is the answer for C. Now, question D, we just answered it. We said that half power of negative 3 plus 3, and we added them because we are multiplying the same base numbers, so they're going to be 0, and anything with a power of 0 equals 1. Very good. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now let's take a look at question 18. In question 18 here, let me read it. There are 100 trillion microorganisms in the human intestines. This is 10 times the number of cells in a human body. Write the number of cells in a human body in standard form. Now, in this question, question 18, as they said, there are 100 trillion microorganisms in the human intestine. And this number is 10 times the number of cells in the human body. So what they want is the number of cells in the human body. So we take this number and divide it by 10 because it's 10 times the human body. So we say that 100 divided 10 equals 10. So the number of cells in the human body is 10 trillion. And as we said, this number here is 1 trillion. As we moved it and turned it into a standard like this, we turn it like this. So we move this number of times, which is 12 times. And we said it's 1 multiplied by 10 power of 12. Now, this is the trillion. Now, we need 10 trillion. So we're going to take this number and multiply it by 10 so we can find the number of cells in the human body. So let's take it and put it on top here. I'm sorry, here. So we're going to take the same number, which is 1 multiplied by 10 power of 12, and we multiply it by 10 because it's this one is a trillion and the human body cells are 10 trillion, so we multiply it by 10. And because we're multiplying the same base numbers and this one has a power of 1, so the answer, we will add the powers together. So it's going to be 1 times 10 to the power of 13. And this is the number of cells of the human body in standard form. And this is how you answer a question like this. Let's check question 19. In question 19, it's a problem solving question. Write these numbers in order from smallest to largest. Same idea as we did before with the powers. Now, the problem here that we have with these numbers, that we have this number here and this number here. They're not the same with powers. So we have to turn them into numbers with powers, okay? Let's turn them into standard form. Why not? Yeah. Okay, let's take a look. First, let's turn this into standard form. To turn it into standard form, it means we have to move the decimal point. Now, this is the decimal point. We're going to move it 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the number is what? 1.24 multiplied by 10. So we moved it 3 times to the negative side. So negative 3. Okay. 3 times to the negative side. So we have a number with a power now. Same idea with this one. We need a number with a power. So I used the calculator. I divided it. The answer it gave me is 0.00125. Now I'm going to turn it into a standard form. So I'm going to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 1.25 times 10 power of negative 3. Okay. Because I moved it 1, 2, 3 times. So it's negative because it's going to the negative side. Now, I turned all the numbers into standard form, basically. We can say standard form, yes. Now, we need the smallest one. Okay, we need the smallest one. We said that the smallest one has the largest number in the negative part. The largest number in the negative part, okay? So it's going to be the smallest one. I can do one thing to make it easier for me not to be confused with numbers. I can make all of them standard form. Now, to make all of them standard form, let's check them one by one because it's problem solving, okay? Now, this one is in standard form, no problem. Now, let's move on to this one. What about this one? Is it standard form? No. So I have to move the decimal point here. And because I went to the negative side, I'm gonna subtract 1 from 10 power of negative 2. So it's gonna be 1.2 times 10 power of negative 3 because I subtracted 1 from negative 2. Good. Now I have this standard. This one is standard. Now this one is not, but the last one I turned it into standard, so I need to turn this one only. Let's do it. So to turn it, the decimal point is here, right? I'm gonna move it 1, 2, 3. So it's gonna be 1.205 multiplied by 10. And I moved it to the positive side, so I'm gonna add 1 to the power. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna add 3 because I moved 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So it's gonna be negative 6 plus 3. It's gonna be negative 3. Now I'm gonna check which one is the smallest. Now the smallest one has the largest number in the negative power. Now all of them, they have negative 3. All of them have negative 3. Now, how can I check which one is the smallest? By looking at these numbers. I don't care about the powers now because all the powers are the same. All the powers are the same. Now, let's take a look at these numbers. Which one is the smallest? Here we have 1.2. Here we have 1.2, 1.24, 1.2, 1.2. So all of them have 1.2. So I look at the number after the 2 and see which one is the smallest because all of them have negative 3 as a power and they have 1.2. So I look at the numbers after 1.2. So here I have 6. Okay. Let me put it like this so I can answer it. Yes. Here we have 6. Here we have 0. Obviously, this is 0. And here we have 4, 0, 5, and 5. So which one is the smallest? It's the 0 one. Good. So it's this one's number 1, and then 0, 5 is after it, which is this one. What's next? We have 6, 4, and 5. So 4, yes, good. And then 5, and then 6. Very good. And this is how you answer a question like this. You have to turn them all into standard form. This is very important. After turning them into standard form, take a look at the powers. If they have the same powers as we had now, we're going to look at the other numbers. But if they have different powers, I can put them in order using the powers. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.